So recently, I've been having this strange problem where I have been sleeping for like a couple hours in the late afternoon or the early night, and then I will wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to get back to sleep for several hours until it's like almost morning, and then at that point I fall asleep and I go to sleep for a couple more hours. And on average, it'll round out to be like 6 hours of sleep that I get in total. And for whatever reason, I can't change it. I have tried really tiring myself out. I have tried doing a lot of physical activity. I've tried medication. This problem keeps happening. And it seems that even when I don't get the nap that for whatever reason my body wants me to take, I will end up having another problem where I fall asleep, yes, a little bit later, and then sleep a little bit longer, but I still will not get a full 7 hours of sleep. And so I'll end up feeling like shit, and I just have to kind of, you know, grit through it, just have my coffee in the morning, but not too much so I don't feel bad. Just, have enough to be able to like withstand being awake. And by that I mean, be awake as I inevitably would be, but like not feel completely and utterly terrible. And then I go throughout the rest of the day and I'm just like, God, why can't I sleep, a full amount? Frankly, I don't know how certain people out there do it. I don't know how there are people out there that manage to sleep for more than at most like 9 or pushing it even further 10 hours. I don't know how people's bodies do that. Like that's crazy to me, right? Um, Back when I was a teenager, when I was like 16 and I was pretty depressed, I would take this medication I was prescribed called hydroxyzine, and I would just take it like over and over throughout the day to try and sleep for 12 hours a day. And I made a video called like sleeping 16 hours a day. Yeah, now that I think about it, a lot of the time I did sleep for 16. Yeah, I made that video sleeping 16 hours a day. And the people on the video were like, "Wow, this is really depressing. You must be really depressed," which is true. I was. But now that I'm happy, that never happens anymore. I haven't experienced depression in so many years now, like basically not since I was literally a teenager. So now I'm at this weird point in my life where I don't really know how to sleep anymore. And that guy who was able to do that feels like such a distant memory to me because I don't have any kind of tolerance to any kind of sleep medication, non narcotic sleep medication, that is. The narcotic stuff I just straight up won't take because I don't like what that stuff does to your brain over time or your body with increased cancer risks and things like that. So with the non narcotic stuff, I don't even have a tolerance to it, right? It just doesn't do anything for me anymore. It doesn't significantly alter my sleep, or even if it does give me like one better night, like where I sleep a decent amount, I'll have this thing where I'm like, well, I don't want to take that again because if I do, I'm going to become dependent on it. And then my sleep is never going to get fixed because I'm going to just be trapped in this cycle where this medication is the only thing allowing me to sleep normally until it no longer works because my body's used to it, and then oh boy, I have the same problem again, except now I also have to get off this medication if I ever have any hope of solving it naturally. So I don't want to dig myself into a hole like that. And so instead, I'm just in this weird, strange world, this bizarro world, let's say, where I cannot sleep at night. I cannot sleep during the day. I cannot sleep in any way. And it's driving me crazy, to be honest with you, but then at the same time I still have my kind of go-getter spirit, so even when like my fucking eyes are visibly uh dripping with lack of sleep, the bags are just falling straight to the ground. I still do all of my language work, but then I'll have this sort of, after I'm done in the wee hours of the night as I'm trying to drift away, I'll have these thoughts like, I, I don't think the work that I'm doing is as effective because I don't get proper sleep at night. I would probably be able to remember this stuff better if I slept better. And then I'm like, well, it do be like that. You know what I'm saying? It'll probably just be in a longer amount of time that I acquire the same amount of words and patterns in the language as somebody else. So that's no excuse to give up. Not that I would anyway, because I find language learning very fun. But it is to say that somebody who can naturally sleep the right way has a little bit of an edge on me. But also, I have what I would like to call Tim Rogers syndrome, which means that I remember basically everything, which gives me kind of a leg up on those people as well. So we'll see how it goes. We will see where we are. But I, I'm trying to kind of mess with my brain. I'm kind of trying to drill a hole through my brain in order to see the sunset. That sounds like the title of a Japanese novel. I think Drill Hole Through My Brain is the title of a Japanese manga. But I could imagine like a really like postmodern novel called something like drilling a hole through my brain to see the sunset, and then like that's how you translate it in English, just this really long title. But anyway, um, I'm rambling. I'm rambling probably because I have not had adequate sleep, and I haven't in a while. um, you ever think about how like if you are this way, do you ever think about how you will have spent many more hours of your life than the average person awake? That is, if you survive as long as the average person. That's the other thing, too, is like not sleeping enough. It literally accelerates the decline of your DNA and your body. And so, like, I might have a stroke earlier than the average person. I might have a heart attack earlier. Brain related decline. I do certain things that slow it, like exercise, trying to eat the right stuff, although I can't totally always afford to do that because I'm pretty poor, but I try. Uh, you know, I try to I try to get with it with the cognitive tasks, the memory based tasks, and all of these things. It's like all of these things are good for a person that are that's trying to preserve their body and brain. But if you just literally can't sleep at night, it's like there's gonna come a point when the check has to be paid, and current you, who is awake all the time, is borrowing time from future you, who is going to have that bill. Grim Reaper is going to be knocking on their door, and they're going to say, all right, it's time to collect, okay? The bill is here. And I don't think I can pass on any fake checks to that guy. I do not think my forgery skills would be adequate to scare him away, to make him feel like he's been paid in full. He'd be coming for my head, and so in the end, I don't know what's going to happen to me, but that's also just kind of like what life is like, right? Um, we're alive on Earth for some period of time, and various things happen, often due to factors outside of our control or ones that we find it difficult to explain, uh, many of which have something to do with our genetics, and then we die. And there's a lot of beautiful things that happen in between now and then, and there's a lot of bad things that happen in between now and then. And sleep has got to be one of those things. I'd say it's a little bit of both of those things. It can be beautiful at times, but a lot of the time it's also really bad. But doesn't that kind of describe existence as well?